My friend went into an abandoned factory, and he never answered again. I don't know if writing this down will help or if it's going to make it worse. Maybe I should just keep it buried in my mind, forget it ever happened, pretend like Ethan just wandered off and disappeared without a trace. But I can't. Every detail keeps replaying in my head, every shadow and every sound, and I keep thinking maybe if I had done something differently, he'd still be here. Ethan and I had been inseparable for years. We were the kind of friends who thrived on adrenaline and danger. Old warehouses, construction sites, abandoned schools. If it was decrepit and rumored to be haunted, we were there. Most people would call it stupidity, but to us it was adventure. We were explorers in a city that had been left behind, a place where rust and silence held more stories than any book. But a month ago, Ethan went somewhere alone. I didn't want to go with him. I had a bad feeling that day, the kind of instinct that screams at you to stay home. But he brushed it off with that signature grin of his and said, "I'll be back in an hour. You'd hate it anyway. This place is, different." Different. That's the word that haunts me now. The place he went to was an abandoned factory on the outskirts of town. Decades of neglect had left it a hollow skeleton of steel beams and crumbling concrete. Local kids whispered stories of shadows moving behind broken windows and strange noises echoing in the night. Homeless people avoided it, and even the cops didn't like to go near it. But Ethan had a fascination with the terrifying. He loved proving that fear was nothing but adrenaline. He sent me one last message before he went in. A photo of a rusted, half-collapsed door with the caption, "Someone's been here before me." That was the last thing I got from him. At first, I thought it was a prank. Ethan loved pranks, and disappearing for a few hours was classic him. But when his phone went dead and his social media accounts froze in time, I realized something was wrong. Something had him, and it wasn't coming back. I waited. Hours, then a day, then a week. I called, texted, even messaged his friends. Nothing. The silence was thick, like the city itself was swallowing him whole. Finally, I decided I had to go to the factory. I knew I shouldn't. Every instinct screamed at me to turn around and call the cops, but I couldn't leave him there, not knowing what had happened. So I grabbed my flashlight, a backpack with water, and some rope, just in case. The closer I got to the factory, the heavier the air felt. The sky was overcast, thick clouds blotting out the moon. The usual city noises, cars, distant music, dogs barking, faded until all that remained was an eerie, suffocating silence. The fence was easy enough to climb. The gate was chained, but not locked. I slipped inside, landing hard on the ground, and the sound echoed far too loudly. I cursed under my breath, my flashlight trembling in my hand. The factory was enormous. Broken windows gaped like hollow eyes, rusted beams stretched across the ceiling, and a thin layer of dust covered everything. The air smelled of mold, rot, and something metallic that made my stomach churn. Then I saw it. Ethan's backpack. It lay near a collapsed stairwell, the strap ripped clean off. My heart jumped. I knelt and unzipped it. Inside were his flashlight, a half-empty water bottle, and his notebook. His notebook. Ethan never went anywhere without it. Sketches, half-written lyrics, little scribbles about things he imagined. But the last page made me freeze. Scrawled in messy handwriting, his hand shaking, were 4 words. "It's not empty in here." The words felt like ice on my skin. I should have left. I wanted to leave, but I had to know what happened. I had to find him. The factory stretched endlessly. Hall after hall of shadows, debris, broken machinery. My flashlight caught shapes at the edges of my vision, and every time it did, my pulse skipped a beat. Something was following me. I could feel it. Then I heard footsteps. Slow, deliberate, somewhere ahead of me. "Ethan?" I whispered, my voice barely carried in the cavernous space. The footsteps stopped. I should have turned back. I wanted to, but I moved toward them anyway. Each step made my stomach knot tighter. The walls were covered in graffiti, pipes hung low, doors creaked with the weight of years. At the end of a hallway, I found a door, rusted, dented, slightly ajar. Scratched deep into its surface were 4 words: "Don't open from inside." I opened it. The room beyond was massive. Storage? Machinery? I couldn't tell. Shadows pooled in the corners, and then I saw him. Or I thought I did. A figure stood at the far end, tall, motionless, head tilted slightly, as if studying me. My flashlight flickered, and for a terrifying second, the figure disappeared. My throat dried. "Ethan?" No answer. A shuffling sound, metal scraping against concrete. Something was moving toward me from the shadows, dragging itself across the floor. I ran. I don't know how far or how long, but I ran. Hall after hall, debris crunching under my feet. Every corner held a shape, every shadow felt alive. I reached a doorway that led to a collapsed stairwell. My flashlight flickered and died. Darkness swallowed me whole. I didn't stop running until I hit the night air outside, my chest heaving, my legs trembling. I barely recognized my own neighborhood. I didn't look back. I couldn't. I locked myself in my apartment and tried to sleep, but I couldn't. Shadows seemed to flicker across my walls, and every small sound made my blood run cold. And then I heard it. A voice, faint, almost drowned by the hum of the city. "Alex." It was Ethan. I bolted upright in bed, heart pounding. I called his name. Silence. But last night my phone buzzed. A message from Ethan. No text, just a picture. The rusted door, the same one he photographed before. And behind it, through the narrow gap, I swear I saw an eye staring out. I haven't slept since. I haven't gone back. I don't know what's inside that factory, or if Ethan is even alive, or if he ever was. But sometimes, late at night, I hear footsteps in the hall outside my apartment. Slow, deliberate, and I swear, if I listen closely, I can hear him whispering my name. I keep thinking, maybe if I go back, I could find him. Maybe I could pull him out. But deep down I know it's not that simple. Whatever's in there, it doesn't let anyone leave. And the worst part? Sometimes, when I'm alone in my apartment, I catch a glimpse of something in the mirror, a shadow that isn't mine, a tall figure, head tilted slightly, watching me, waiting. And I know, somehow, Ethan is still out there, or what's left of him, and it's coming from me.